Hello, today I'll be presenting the scenario for MegaPrint, which is a B2C print vendor for venues that are hosting events. They operate globally, and this will be a greenfield development to replace existing systems that are being decommissioned. And their objectives ultimately are to facilitate the expansion of their current operations. System landscape. Another objective of theirs is to replace their existing systems, which include 3 different Salesforce systems and 2 different Microsoft Dynamics instances that currently track deals and issues. These are going to then be replaced by a unified Salesforce instance that is implemented in a single org. The risk identified is that SAP, which is a wildcard, has unreliable data. It has a release cycle that may be a constraint on the release cycle that we're proposing for Salesforce here. So what we're going to do is decouple SAP with Salesforce via an ESB. And then also there's another risk around large data volumes. So what we'll do is, of course, leverage standard objects for the deterministic and the limits, and then leverage custom indexes where we can for enhancing the read operations, and then also reducing the large data volumes as they controlling for large data volumes in the long run through an archive where we're archiving to an enterprise data warehouse that is a cold storage of records that are completed in Salesforce once they're non-operational. The assumptions I made is that Salesforce will be a system record for CRM objects, that SAP will system record for the print jobs and orders. We're going to decommission the account SAP. That will, I'm also assuming, won't impact or there won't be a constraint around downstream systems there. Will be system record for blueprints, and that the assumption I made is that the CAD can generate pre-signed links to images and zip files. Okay, moving on now to the actors. We have on the internal side, the partner sales reps that will receive Sales Cloud and Salesforce Voice licenses for the ability for them to work with leads and opportunities in the system, and then also to facilitate the phone-based outreach that they'll need to be doing. I opted for Salesforce Voice here, given the fact that this is a global company and they will be making calls outside of the United States. So this will limit the ability. This limited us to Salesforce Voice instead of Sales Dialer. Additionally, the partner sales reps management receive the same for the same reasons, but also CRMA license for advanced analytics. Technicians receive Sales Cloud and Service Cloud license for accesses to opportunities and omnichannel. Digital engagement for the ability to do live chat, and Salesforce Voice for the calls that they'll make to clients. The same is true for the technician management, except they will also receive the CRMA license for advanced analytics. Event sales reps receive Sales Cloud license for access to lead opportunities, as well as their management. The venue operations managers and the venue of operation operators themselves are for the managers and advanced sharing for the users. The customers themselves will receive customer community license for access to their own records. So these customers are the ones that are booking venues for booking events at these different venues here. The role hierarchy is fairly flat with some separation based on the country. So we have the VP of sales that operates globally, and then the country team is teams of event sales management role users. And then you have local teams that can compose of 50 different event sales reps. The partner sales manager and the partner sales reps exist in a role hierarchy. Then the partner sales representatives will only be the account channel owner for the venues themselves, which are business accounts. And within those accounts, we have the venue administrators, which are those event operation managers that receive customer community license, and then also the venue operators that receive the customer community plus license as well. They will exist in the role hierarchy as the external roles. And then finally, we have the technician management will receive a role along with their subordinate technicians. Like I mentioned, there's going to be a single org here. We're going to enable multi-currency for advanced currency management. That will also default to the USA currency for the corporate currency selection. Then we'll also enable multi-language given the global outreach and the internationalization needed in the solution. This will be done through translation workbench that will translate metadata, including custom labels and Visualforce email templates. The solution itself is implemented using a couple of different managed packages, including Marketing Cloud, which includes connectors to Marketing Cloud via the Marketing Cloud Connect for its digital, data extensions and the synchronized data extensions. The Chargent will be installed as a managed package that will integrate with Stripe for the payment gateway. DocuSign will be enabled for e-signature, Salesforce Voice for the calls, digital engagement for the live chat, and the texting and the SMS capabilities. And then the CRMA will be finally integrated using its own connectors with Salesforce, and those connectors will then create the data sets within CRMA for advanced analytics. The internal users will authenticate using SAML via Okta. Okta then federates identities from the Active Directory via the Okta Active Directory store. Okta agent that integrates with the Active Directory have the ability to authenticate using their LinkedIn or Google credentials. Once they authenticate using those credentials, will follow an OIDC return ID token to Salesforce. These media sites will return an ID token to Salesforce, and then Salesforce will validate them using its auth provider that's been set up for it. They will also have access to a hybrid app, including external users will have access to a hybrid app that authorizes itself using the auth code plus Pixie Flow. And then they will authenticate using either the auth provider based ID token from LinkedIn or Google, or they'll use their native credentials to log in using Salesforce credentials. Okay. Like I mentioned, there's going to be integration with Marketing Cloud. AWS Connect will integrate with Salesforce to facilitate the Salesforce voice. Payment gate will be Stripe and connected with Chargent for the secure PCI integration. Chargent will tokenize the credit card information and then refer to the actual credit information within the payment gateway that's stored there for PCI compliance. The solution itself takes an API-led approach to integrations where we have DSP exposing reusable APIs that are then consumed by different services, including the CAD system as well as the print SAP system that are both on-premise. The ESP will integrate with the print SAP system using its own ESP MuleSoft agent. I'm assuming this is MuleSoft, so MuleSoft will then have its own agent behind the firewall within the DMZ that will then integrate with the print SAP system. We'll also have an ETL that's stood up by the data steward that will facilitate the integration or the migration of data from 3 different decommissioning Salesforce systems, Microsoft Dynamics, and the account ERP system, SAP system that includes the account data. And then finally, we have the enterprise data warehouse that will be the cold storage for the records that are archived once they're not operational in the system. Okay, so once since we're done with that, we're going to talk now about the general pain points and about how we're resolving some of these general pain points. Starting with the first, where we have a centralized IDP. One of the pain points that's described here is that that users are having issues getting logged in because it's a lengthy and error-prone process to get access to the systems. So what we'll do is set up Okta as the IDP, and Okta will not only act as the for SAML using as the IDP, the SAML assertion response provider to Salesforce, but also it will act as a provisioning system that will provision and deprovision via SCEM from Okta to Salesforce as soon as they're deactivated within Active Directory, or deactivated using Active Directory as a terminated user. The developers also have need some rigor around their development process. Right now, they are seeing issues with deployments specifically because they are following error-prone deployment scripts, and they are potentially also making changes directly into production. So we'll restrict that using CI/CD processes that will leverage Jenkins and leverage, or not Jenkins, leverage GearSet. We'll have GearSet installed as in a separate org that will then facilitate the deployment of metadata from sandboxes that are stood up for these development teams or developers. These Scratch orgs will then be able to push metadata to a trunk-based repository, code repository that will be the source of truth for the code itself. And then QA will take it from there, where they will validate the changes and they go to UAT, where the UAT is validated by the business. And so that will prevent the deployment processes where they're following deployment document and script, because we'll have first of all the developers will be responsible for deploying their own code changes into an environment, and they will be responsible for making sure that the deployments are successful before they goes into the master branch. And then also we will automate the deployments using that CI/CD, which is GearSet in this case, where it will have the ability to automate the deployments as soon as code changes are pushed into the master branch. Okay, moving on now to the actual requirements. We have the partner sales reps that will be responsible for calling the business, calling the venues and the venue prospects, which are represented within my ERD as business accounts. And then they will negotiate with these different prospects they're not venue accounts yet. They're initially leads that are created by the partner sales representatives. They are then negotiated with, and they can even use Salesforce Voice to call on them, and then record those calls. Those calls are referenced directly on the lead record itself. The venue operators themselves will then work with the technicians to build once they've had access. So they'll be converted at this point from a lead to an account. The venue operators will then be able to work with technicians. They will use a screen flow that will create then a virtual render. Sorry, stepping back here. The venue operators will have the ability to refer clients to MegaPrint for event printing needs. Those will be done using the screen flow, where they'll be able to create then leads as venue prospects as well. So these are two different ways for leads, these potential venues, to be created is via the two different channels is via the partner sales reps that will create them as lead records, or the venue operators, when they have access to the system, will be able to then refer and create leads that way. The venue operators will be onboarded, and once they are onboarded, they're created as a business account. Those business accounts then include contacts, which are those different operators. There will also be a role hierarchy, external role hierarchy for the venue itself, which includes an admin that is provisioned with the permission for delegated external user administration, since they're also a Customer Community Plus user. And then they'll be able to create additional operators under their account. The venue admin will, by default, will be able to create 20 different active users, but it can be changed based on an account field called max users that is only editable by the partner sales rep that owns the account. So they will then be able to then edit that, and that will be enforced via permission set. There will also be a screen flow for the delegated administrator, which is that operator admin, that will then allow for them to create users, and it also, that screen flow enforces the max number of users per account. The partner sales representative, after the account has been converted, will then assign a primary print location based on the distance. It will also have visual aids to select the different territories. So what they'll do is they'll go into the account once it's been converted as an account, and then they will assign the account to a territory, which is in my object model is a print location, or different territory, which is a print location. So print locations are assigned to different accounts via the assigned territory junction object, which is a setup object. Then they'll have a LWC map as well that will render the print location assigned to that account as well. The print technicians will then, once the print location has been assigned, via territory, the print technicians will have access to the account. They will have access to the account because they will be members of the different territories. I chose to use Enterprise Territory Management in this case because the print jobs that are created for these venues will need to be assigned to multiple different print locations to support if needed. So there will need to be the ability for a print job to be picked up by one territory, but also the print jobs themselves can be split up between two different territories. So in that case, and also given the fact that technicians need to be able to see their territories print jobs, I chose to use Enterprise Territory Management, given that many-to-many relationship between technician visibility and the jobs that are under the venues themselves. Also, there's another reason is that we have the territories themselves that can have technicians assigned to them and unassigned to them. So to ease the admin burden of assigning new technicians to territories and switching out technicians to territories, I chose to use Enterprise Territory Management because that streamlines it. Whereas, for example, with account teams, those would require then piecemeal adding to each individual account team that is associated with the venue. The onboarding process then is, yes, the available technicians are, the technicians are assigned to an account via the lookup on the account record itself. So there's going to be a primary technician from the territory that gets assigned to the account via lookup or hierarchical lookup. The technician as a user then obviously has access since they already assigned to the territory, but they'll then be able to create an opportunity under that account, and that account opportunity will then be the one that the opportunity will be what's used as the life cycle record for the design itself. So Once the technician has created an opportunity, they will go into the CAD system, which is that computer-aided design software that enables the technician to render blueprints. They will access the CAD system via the opportunity object, that opportunity record, where they're within the layout. They will have they'll have a canvas view of the CAD system, and then that will give them the ability to quickly render blueprints for the venue itself and have access to it. The technician and partner sales representatives will finalize on the opportunity record. The ESR, I didn't mention before, will be the one to own the opportunity once it's created. The technician will continue to have access to the opportunity via the territory management. Once they have defined the pricing option, the banners and the venue specific banners, they will create those as venue specific price books and products that are the selection of banner sizes. And then between those two objects, you have a junction object for the price book entries that are the pricing records for those venue specific banner sizes. The partner sales rep will be able to can view all the other partner accounts, but they can only edit their own. They'll be within the global parent territory, because the territory management will be a hierarchy of territories. They will be assigned to the global parent territory, these partner sales reps, for view access, and then they can edit only their own account because they will be the only owner of the account which they will own. Okay. So they'll own the account, and the ESR, the event sales representatives, will own the opportunities. And since they own the account, they'll have edit access to the opportunities as well. Okay, so the website, we're moving on up to the sales here. The website, the sales process will be kicked off by the by the website, and this will be done by the customer. They will access the website directly, this website here. And then there will be within the website a Marketing Cloud hosted page that will allow for them to create lead records. And then those lead records will be created within Salesforce via Marketing Cloud Data Extension triggered email that will notify send via email the customer an email that will include a more information around Megaprint and the specific venue, and then they'll have access to that. They'll have access to the email, and then the additional information, documentation for them will be accessible via download link for the more information. The event sales representative will field the leads that are initially created, and then those leads are initially assigned to the event sales rep queue for the local team. So the event sales reps will be partitioned by different queues per locality, and those leads will be assigned to the queues based on the lead assignment rules. So actually, it's lead assignment rules here. When a lead is created, then the lead is assigned to a queue. Customers there are going to be plenty of customers. We'll talk about large data volumes in a moment. When the lead is initially created, there will be a record triggered flow as well to see if an account already exists for that lead, or say a person account, really, a business account, a customer, really. If the account already exists, then we're going to just simply create an opportunity that's owned by the event sales rep. Automatically, we're just going to create an opportunity there. Otherwise, what we'll do is assign the lead for conversion to the event sales rep queue using the same mechanism as before. If a referral has not been picked up within 24 hours, so a lead has been assigned to the queue and has been sitting for 24 hours assigned to the queue, which is the management team. I talked about that before. There's going to be the event sales management team that has its own queue that's assigned that those leads. The event sales process starts when the opportunity is created and then it's owned by the ESR. The ESR will send an email via Marketing Cloud that includes the links to the documents that are stored in the CAD system. The links themselves will be able to be monitored with Marketing Cloud email analytics to analyze the click-through rate. The email that's sent will be monitored, and they have the ability to follow. The event sales reps there's quick onboarding for the sales reps using guided tools. Timeline. The customer the opportunity record that's exposed. Sorry, the customer is not doing this. The event sales representative will be in communication with the customer. The event sales representative will be able to quickly limit the view of the banner options that are for that specific venue based on the opportunity line items or based on the price book that's assigned to the opportunity. So here, opportunity line items will themselves have a lookup to the price book entries for the venues that include different banner options. That will then also facilitate this combination of opportunities and opportunity line items here will facilitate the ability for them to do a repeat order itself. Okay. So once they've aligned on the closed won opportunity and the opportunity line items, then what we'll do is create an order that will then track the actual event, and the opportunity order line items will be then the banners that are selected as well. There will be an image package request per order to ensure that the customers can also retrieve the previous images from previous events. What we'll do is have on the order object itself on the layout for the customer the ability to retrieve via the CAD system. What we'll do is have Salesforce integrate with the CAD system using a fire and forget, which will be based on a platform event that includes in the payload the order ID, and then the ESP will then do a triggered send with a list of image links from the CAD system, and this will be done using Marketing Cloud. So there are currently 2 on-premise SAP systems that have some unreliable data, inconsistent data. So we'll be migrating and paying extra attention to the data that's being migrated using an ETL pipeline that is provisioned by the data steward. Data steward will migrate the data to the stage table that is responsible for deduplication and cleansing. and then that will be migrated as accounts. Those will be migrated as accounts to Salesforce. And that will then decommission the SAP account domain. The Megaprint will expect that the systems themselves will be localized to their local currency and have the ability to backdate exchange rates. So that therefore we'll be enabling advanced currency, and then we'll apply the backdated currency conversion when the order is closed. So when the order is activated, really, for the actual cost estimation. Customers are required to put down via credit card 20% of the order total. This will be also done using the charge-in package, which will allow for the customer to store the credit card information within the payment gateway directly without storing the credit information within Salesforce. And then if it's a premier customer, then the charge-in will be charge-in will charge when the order is activated on submit. Otherwise, what we'll do is have the charge-in order increase to the 20%, and if it is successful, if the payment is successful, then we'll activate the order that way. So there's going to be a gate to the actual order activation before it gets activated based on the payment status. The event sales representative management will only be able to change the customer's status, which is that premier flag. We'll enforce that via permission set. The CRM instances that connect to SAP to submit orders. Currently, the event sales representatives don't log into the SAP system directly. And those also have kind of a coupled logic where there is where the CRM system is tightly coupled with the SAP system through an direct integration point to point. What we're going to do instead is have the ESB then orchestrate the orders so that we're not doing the point-to-point integration. We have an ESB that is, in this case, MuleSoft, that is orchestrating the orders and the routing of those orders to downstream systems, including to the SAP, two different SAP systems for order management. The ESB will also, one of the other reasons, because we're using an ESB here, is not only because of the tighter coupling or because of the looser coupling that it enables, but also because there is scheduled downtime of the SAP systems. And we need to make sure that we are handling outages in a clean way so that we're not losing messages. So we'll have an ESB that has a dead letter queue that stores the orders and then retries during outages with the SAP integration. When the deal is closed, then the print location will need to be informed of the actual banner images that need to be created. ESP will orchestrate that as well. The event sales representatives have access to their own team's data. They will have access to their own team's data using ownership-based sharing rules. For the public group, that includes the 50 different public groups. Then they will also only be able to edit their they should only be able to edit their own team's data or their own data since they are the account owner. They're not the account owner. The partner sales rep is the account owner. They own the opportunity, and they'll have access to only their own teams using the ownership-based sharing rule, but they won't be the account owner with this. And then the customers will be able to log in, like I mentioned, using OIDC. Okay. For the banner images, they are uploaded directly to the CAD system using the CAD Canvas app that's exposed within the Salesforce solution that's on the order layout when they're creating the orders. And that will include instructions to then upload for the customer as well. They will be able to then upload to the folder that includes that is hosted in a virtual private network folder. We're no longer going to rely on emails for this case, though. When the technician when the customer's uploaded the images, the technician will step in to then make sure that there's the right combination of banner offerings and image details. What Salesforce will do is retrieve the banner details on the order and order line items with the image links and those instructions. And then DocuSign will then be responsible for rendering the actual images and order on an envelope for the customer to then sign electronically. Once the order has been, once it's been DocuSigned by the customer, then the order will be activated, and that includes the deposit paid if it is the deposit, the payment logic that I mentioned earlier. When the order is then activated, then we'll have a fire and forget patterned integration that will then communicate the order details with the CAD system. The CAD will then receive the information that will then, whenever the CAD system has an update as to, for example, when that it's updated, accepted the print job, and that for any sort of other status updates, the CAD, I'm assuming that the CAD system can fire events that are subscribed to by Salesforce. Via MuleSoft, that will then create and update assets that are the different print jobs or the banners that are being printed and that are going to be used. When a CAD event occurs, we'll update then the asset status and then also the queue. So the order it is in the queue because there is a queue for the print jobs themselves that are sent off to the print locations. And that will then include an estimated date as well. I'm assuming that the CAD system can also update the asset with the estimated date. That will also give visibility to the technicians for whether or not the assets themselves can be printed on time. These print jobs can be printed on time, and that will enable visibility for the technicians. If they want to have the asset switch to a different print location, what they can do is they can then update the print location on the account, as they can update the account to have an additional print location for the venue to get additional support for the asset and for the event in general. So that's the reason why we have a many-to-many relationship between accounts and territories to enable that ability for venues to get additional support for assets and printing. The technicians will have the ability to edit their print location orders, since they'll have access to all the orders because they will have access to the account, and the account orders are controlled by parent. They'll have access to cases given the fact that they're within the territory, member of the territory for that account, and then they'll have access to the cases as well via implicit sharing. They'll have access to the work orders because they are controlled by parent under the account. And then they'll have access to edit the cases via the territory management, and they will also be they'll have access to edit the cases. And the work orders themselves are controlled by parent under the account. Yeah. Okay. Enterprise territory management then covers the technicians. The customers will have access to their own records via sharing sets. The Venue operators will have access to all the orders, print jobs, and issues for their venue based on their assignment to the account. And they'll have access to child implicit sharing for the account, and they'll have access to the work order since it is controller parent under the account as well. And then they'll have the ability to be assigned to multiple different venues. An operator can, based on ACR, which is an account contact relationship that establishes a venue between the operators and the venues. And the technician managers will be able to review all print request jobs, in danger of missing the ship by date, on a scheduled basis, using a scheduled spending marketing cloud. Our competitor will rely on data extensions that are synchronized with Salesforce. The banners are installed using a hybrid app for reference. They can then cache placeholder images. That's why we chose the hybrid app, so that enables that local storage. The venue operators will manage the event setup and work order workload for the banners that are being installed using work orders and work order line items. The work order line items refer directly to the assets that are being installed. Issues are reported by the different customers. They can use the customers and venue operators can use the use visual engagement to reach out to the technicians to resolve issues. They can also call in using Salesforce Voice. They can call into a number, and then Salesforce Voice will pick up the call, and that will then be tracked on the case object. They can also email a number or an address, and that will then create a case record as well for any issues. The issues during the event setup are time sensitive, so we'll make sure that they are being completed on time using case escalation rules, and then Salesforce will access they'll have access to Salesforce via the web app. The case implicit sharing for the venue via account will be enabled for these venue operators, customers, and technicians. Technicians will own the cases though. There will be case implicit sharing for the customer via the contact that's assigned on the case itself. The technician managers will have access to the review issue trends by print location and issue type via the print location, which is the territory, and then access to the cases from there. They'll be the parent, they'll be the superior role within the role hierarchy. They'll have access to then their subordinate cases as well. Partner sales representatives will own the accounts, and they'll have access via child implicit sharing to the customer issues as well. And then all issue history will be are considered relevant but aren't necessarily operational records, so we'll store them within the data warehouse, and reporting will be enabled using CRMA with migrated case records. And then we'll store name references for the employees that have been laid off or the turnover using text fields on the data themselves, and then those will persist the user references. Moving on now finally to the partner sales representatives, who will be prioritizing the venue growth potential based on the referral trends and closed event deals. So what we'll do is for these PSRs, enable CRMA via their license, and then they'll be able to report on the lead sources, opportunities that are then converted to orders. That will then give them the insight that they need to be able to grow, and they will also be available to the partner venue operators for partnership planning via an export from CRMA. We'll have a data warehouse available for the CSV data that is stored from the event trend data. So we'll have the event trend data loaded into the data warehouse. Then that will be loaded from the data warehouse into CRMA as data sets for the ability for them to then look into 5 different strategic countries to launch a global expansion. We're going to decommission the legacy SAP system and we're going to keep the order SAP only for the print jobs themselves. We're going to merge the teams so that we can potentially reduce the backlog of new features and prioritize based on the outstanding development to align with business needs. We're going to make sure that Salesforce isn't impacted by the existing SAP systems that have frequent maintenance downtime by ensuring that the ESB decouples Salesforce from the SAP downtime. ESB will then retry after that period of downtime so that it can then, so that messages aren't lost. Then we'll also have a trunk-based deployment strategy where we have developers developing their own sandboxes, developing and deploying or pushing to a version control system that is trunk-based, that facilitates also continuous integration, continuous deployment, so that we have QA able to test at the same time as developers are developing, and UAT can test subsequent to the QA teams, so that we're not having them change on the fly in production. Bug fixes, we have a hotfix branch that will be created on demand by developers or by the team, so that they can then make fixes to production code that are then integrated into the master branch and go into the release cycle. I don't have anything else. I'll close it. Thank you.